prediction for this game was a very close one, where Ivory Coast would take the victory and win it 3-2. That however was not the case, but Ivory Coast did still come out winners, and let's have a look at how it happened. So my guess for players who would have an impact worked out quite well, because Amad Diallo definitely had an impact by scoring the goal in the 90th minute. But before Amad had scored the winning goal in the 90th minute, this game was absolutely brilliant. Players were pretty much marking each other. It was man-on-man action, and so many of these guys were giving their all. Valencia had some opportunities where he could really have put the game away in the first half already, and Ecuador were looking like this game could have been theirs. But then Diomande started opening up and getting his opportunities, and he was pushing Ecuador to their limit, pushing chances forward for his teammates. But Ngesan didn't really do the best job, and I think that they could have been ahead in the first half as well, but it ended goalless. And in the second half, pretty much the same thing. They were just attacking as usual, both teams taking their chances, but I do think that Ecuador were looking more like a team that could have won it in the first half. In the second half, it looked more like Ivory Coast's game. But same thing happened in the second half. Ecuador just weren't taking enough of the chances. Valencia, he came close, but it was not close enough. This game could easily have been a high scoring game, and I do think that my prediction of 3-2 wasn't far off from what could have happened. But as I said, chances weren't taken, and I do think that if Ivory Coast had brought Amad Diallo on sooner, or possibly started him, we could have seen more goals. Because once Diomande had shifted to the left and Amad came onto the right, you could see it was two players with similar flair, similar creativity, and Ivory Coast were looking more alive than ever. And there was even a glimpse at the end of the game after Amad had scored his goal, where there was an opportunity and we almost found a way for Ivory Coast to grab a second goal. But the final score was 1-0. I think Ivory Coast did brilliantly to grind out for this victory. Their coach was ecstatic when the goal went in. His celebration was crazy. He jumped up into the air. It was actually a massive leap. But Ivory Coast deserved this victory. If Ecuador had won it, it would have been the same thing. Either side deserved to win this game, and the one that lost shouldn't feel hard done by, because it was a clean win, a very good game. One of the funniest moments that I have to bring up was when Moises Caicedo was knocked down in his own box, and he got up and he said he was fine, but the ref said no, and he had to stand on the side for a minute, because that is part of FIFA's new rules. The player is injured, to avoid time wasting with the doctors onto the field, they'll assess you on the side, and once they're done, you have to be off the field for a minute. But Caicedo was absolutely losing his mind waiting to come back on. Apart from that, well done to Ivory Coast. Unfortunate for Ecuador, but a very good game overall.